importance of the food that they eat and why they're eating it. So I'm here to talk about why a vegetarian or vegan diet are viable options for pretty much anyone. And according to the Vegetarian Times, 7.3 million people in America are already vegetarians, and another 22.8 million follow a vegetarian inclined diet. And so I'm going to break it up into how it affects your body, the environment, and the animals. And I know people don't usually look beyond the scope of their plate, but the food that you choose to eat can affect you and people all across the world. And so now I'll talk about how this affects our health personally. So according to the Complete Book of Meat, Dr. Chow said consuming too much fat, and especially animal fat, can cause or lead to coronary heart disease. And consuming milk is perfectly fine for the calves because it contains the amount of fat and protein that they require, but way too much for humans to consume. And eggs are higher in cholesterol than any other food, making them a leading contributor to cardiovascular disease. And in a 2006 study, it was found that 55% of uncooked chicken in supermarkets contain arsenic because it was believed to promote growth in those chickens. So that's not only unfair to those chickens, but the people who are being misled in consuming that product. And the American Diabetic Association says that they can reduce the risk of all of those diseases and cancers if you switch to a vegetarian or vegan inclined diet, even cutting out certain parts of that on certain days. And there's whole grains, veggies, fruits and beans that contain low fat and no cholesterol that are very high in fiber and nutrients. And here's this food pyramid that sees there's tons of veggies that you can eat. There's legumes, greens. For calcium, you can have broccoli, kale, and for iron, chickpeas and spinach. So there's a ton of options. You just have to be willing to experiment with different types of foods. And there's many stereotypes that kind of surround the typical vegan. Maybe they're like weaker than others, or maybe not strong athletes, but a few athletes that actually thrive on this type of diet are Venus and Serena Williams, the professional tennis players, David Carter, the defensive lineman for the Arizona Cardinals, and he actually has a website called the 300-Pound Vegan and says how he eats to prepare for his football season, and Mike Tyson, the former boxer. And now I'll talk about how the food influences the environment. The animal-based agriculture is among the causes of deforestation, air pollution, and water pollution. And in regards to water pollution, the Environmental Protection Agency says runoff from factory farms pollutes rivers and lakes more than all other industry combined. And E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria are found their way into plants because of the 2.7 trillion pounds of excrement that are dumped into the lakes from these farms. And in regards to the rainforest, more than 2.9 million acres of rainforest are cleared to grow crops just for chickens. And so, to kind of compare it to meals that we eat every day, 1 pound of burger is 220 square feet of rainforest that are cleared just for that meal. And so compared to how there's 60 billion land animals that are killed for the meat, dairy, and egg industry, and then tens of marine animals that are also killed, and they're being fed the crops that we're growing instead of the 7.5 billion on Earth that may be starving or need those crops for their own health and production, kind of. So the Council of Agriculture, Science, and Technology states that 1.5 acres can produce 37,000 pounds of plant-based food, and the same acre can only produce 375 pounds of meat. So that's such a large difference with the same acreage. So to sustain a meat, dairy, and egg society, it's 10 times the land, 14 times the water, and 20 times the fossil fuels compared to a plant-based diet. So now let's discuss a little bit about how it affects animals that we're eating. There's 10 billion land animals killed, and out of those, there's 9 million chickens that are killed for our consumption. And the Environmental Protection Agency states that there are more than 20,000 factory farms in the U.S. And this not only affects the animals, but the farmers surrounding that area because of the huge companies that run those. They're driving down the price of that meat that run those small farms out of business. And so the American Public Health Association says that 54% of livestock are being confined to just 5% of those livestock farms. So for chickens, it's 20,000 to 8,000 that are being shoved into these warehouses for 6 to 7 weeks until they grow to the factory standard and then are sent off to be slaughtered. And with hens, they're constantly produced, and if the chick comes out male, they really don't have a need for that to produce eggs, so they're either immediately killed, and then if they're female, their beaks are clipped because of the such small confines. They don't want them pecking at each other and harming one another. And with the dairy farms, you can see that the number of dairy farms are actually decreasing, but the number of cows contained in each of those farms are increasing. So that's not only unsafe for the animals, but also the workers in that area. And so I hope that I kind of gave you guys an overview of how your food not only impacts your body, but other people and your environment and environments all across the world, including the rainforest. So there's just a wider scope that we need to understand of how our diets affect others. And so I understand this is a stretch, but there's a 30-day pledge that I linked to the problem-solving forum to try veganism. And even if you go on it and visit the page and educate yourself on the issue, and if it's not for you, I won't be offended. It's not for everyone due to their beliefs or how they were raised. I understand that. And there's just for one vegan meal, you can have all these positive repercussions. And so I just want to leave you with one quote from Gandhi that says, "The greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated." Thank you.